Out there.
Evening.
Good evening. Okay.
Beautiful day today.
Wasn't it?
I've been in here.
75 degrees.
Very efficient.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
75.
Yeah, I saw it on my car. 71, I like the house one.
Yeah, one of the banks,
Still.
you know, supposed to 74, so I mean, we're right in the same ballpark. What was funny is when we were going on our cruise, we drove down and it was in the high 40s tops until we got literally 3 miles from the Florida border. Then it was in the 60s, we crossed Florida, it's the 70s and 80s. It's like, there's a firm line. This is
no.
Yes. So my wife, we could not with good conscience start to say we're on vacation until we're at least about 70. That's kind of my thoughts.
Last month we were in the mountain. So I was leaving really fast. So you're challenged.
We'll see, 15 minutes.
Okay, well, that'll be inflation. I was just happy it was in the mountain.
I like it. Well, see, last week was supposed to be my practice. Making her last. It's better. Okay, I call the March 6th, 2023 MLM Commission meeting to order. First business is approval of the February 6th, 2023 minutes. Any discussion, any motion?
I will make a motion to approve. Yes.
A motion approved. We have a second.
Matt.
Matt seconded.
My voice isn't very loud, so I apologize.
Any discussion on this? Discussion? Okay. We do a roll call since it's on.
We're all present, so we don't have
Okay,
I will be abstaining from this, since I wasn't.
so all those in favor say, by saying aye.
to. Aye.
All those in favor of denying, say no. Anybody abstain, say aye. Motion carries. Okay, on the new business, first one we have, nobody's here, so we're just going to request to declare official offender the Greens. Whose case is that?
That is Sarah's case, and I'm familiar with it. We went over this last month at the AMC meeting. Tanya Jenkins was the only one to be declared habitual. It was thought that it would be a good idea to put Nicholas Green on there as well as household member. That's habitual.
So if you check your minutes from last meeting, we did declare Tanya Jenkins, habitual offender. It's the exact same case, exact same animals, they won't join me.
All the same reasons.
So I would make a motion to add Mr. Green's name to this, and also identify him as a habitual.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Al and a second by Virgil. Any more discussion on this? Any more discussion? I guess we have a vote on it. All those in favor, by saying aye.
Aye.
want to, always oppose, say aye or nay. And I'm going to abstain from this. I abstain. So motion carries. Mr. Green is now on also. Okay, then, next one, we request declare potentially dangerous and official offender to prove it.
Sorry, before you move on, just verify that we're not adding anything outside of the standard for the habitual. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Proves they're not here. So who's on next?
Kevin Brooks here, I think it's last month, maybe, maybe it's January. His dog Valkyrie, at that time was declared potentially dangerous level 2. Got off property, killed a cat. So 2 weeks ago today, dog got off property again, killed chickens. He is the one on Harmony Road. He's got the welded wire fence around his property with 2 rows of hot wire around it as well.
Is that how the dog got out this time? Because supposedly that was,
It's already by somebody as they opened the door. And it was gone overnight. Sometime the following morning, it found some chickens.
So the fence doesn't completely enclose the house.
The backyard on
It's
it.
just back.
So this time he has the dog. But for me telling them that that dog has to go in an enclosure, a complete enclosure until this meeting tonight. So they got a small kennel. I don't know how big it is. I'm guessing from the way that she described it, 8 by 8, maybe. That the dog has been in an outside sense. Of course, that's not going to keep him barking out the front door again.
Can you somebody remind me what our decision was on that one? We were going to continue.
The dog,
I mean, what the exact story.
but the what, I'm sorry. The exact,
The dog was declared potentially dangerous level 2.
because it killed a cat.
That's right.
Level 2.
Well, my bad, it's been a little while.
I mean, the difference between 2 and 3 isn't that significant. And the jump to vicious just seems a little.
yeah, I mean, that would be my hesitation is with the way the ordinance is written, that this moves it closer to vicious just for, I should say just for chicken, it's important. It's not just chickens, but, it is a prey animal to the dogs.
I would rather put some stipulation that now that seeing that the front door is as much of an opportunity for it to escape, there seems to be an issue, that they need to do something along that line at the front as well, be it a gate of some sort, be it something.
Have we heard from the victims at all? Were they invited, who lost their chickens to this? You know?
I don't know that they were. The invite came, say it was 2 weeks ago today. They needed 14-day notice. I provided them with 14-day notice in person. We wouldn't have time to send it out. So I gave them the notice of the AMC hearing, but I did not put the owner of the chickens.
You know if he's compensated the owner?
He said that he did.
I mean, I would lean more towards dealing with this through the habitual offender and putting those extra restrictions on than I would necessarily advance the dog.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I
mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure any small creature of any sort is gonna be this dog's.
And just in my opinion, I do not see the owners of the dog not necessarily taking the proper steps. They have teenage kids. Each time I've been there, those teenage kids have teenage friends. It seems like it's constant in and out.
Mhm. Which is going to be,
Yeah.
so if we did move to habitual, we added something that may give them the, I don't know, power to say to their teenage kids, we've now been moved to this side of it.
And hopefully the kids understand, I did with Lee's advice. I went out and removed the dog from the property at that time. Kids were very upset, sobbing. Hopefully got the point across that they won't keep their dog much longer if this continues.
Mhm.
Don't know how far that will go with visitors.
Mhm. So at the last one, we just declared the dog that they were not habitual at that point. So if we were to make a motion to have them become habitual offenders, and the dog, the owners as habitual offenders, with the caveat that there needs to be additional precautions set forth for any exiting from that.
I mean, it's something to solve the problem. So, I mean, in that wording of the ordinance, we could, the problem is unless it's outside the house, it's gonna be inside the house, and there's entry and enforcement issues and things like that, that might be a bit more difficult than just a drive-by checking the fence. Yeah, requiring the dog be kept out of the front room. I don't know the house, that if there's ability to keep dog not near the front door and that area be closed off, would solve the problem.
You got something to
Yeah, the house itself is open, living room, kitchen, dining room, hallway. The only thing closed off is the bedrooms. There is a slab out front. I don't recall if there's railing around that or not, but maybe just a suggestion that they close that slab at the gate.
Yeah. To put a second barrier in front, I think that's fair.
Mhm.
And should we offer them, if they have a better suggestion, to let us know, we can consider it. I mean, they may say, hey, there could be a cheaper alternative, whatever. Problem is, needs to get fixed.
I hate doing this, but given the, I'm gonna say property damage in this case, but death to other animals, I think with the habitual offender, that if the dog gets out again, that the animal is kept here until, I mean, just because it's happened. And I feel like we need an extra something,
Right.
not that we're gonna necessarily get rid of it, but that, you know, we've given you a chance, we've given you another chance.
Now we're
serious
serious.
and, yeah. So,
I was gonna say, do you want to put this in
Motion for?
motion format?
well, so I guess technically we do this in two separate motions, right? We do the declaration and then do the parts. So I would move to declare Pruitt's habitual offenders.
First, we got a motion and a second.
I think we actually got two seconds, but.
Who wants a second?
Give it to Matt.
Matt, okay. Do we need any discussion about this? Oh, okay, good. So we got a motion on the table, declare both groups habitual offenders. Do a vote on this, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and those opposed, nay, say nay, and no abstentions, so motion carries. So now to the discussion on parameters or what we've done.
Requirements.
Requirements. So we want that.
So if there's no more, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we require an extra barrier to be erected around the front door. And I would just leave it like that, and have them work with the animal management officers to make sure it's secure, and that I'm blanking on the dog's name. Valkyrie is at large. At any point in time, Valkyrie will be brought to the shelter and housed until the next AMC meeting.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second.
Who was the second?
Madigan?
Again,
Okay.
so doing all the second.
Any more? This will give Danny a chance to look at the series, a case you can put on the front porch, so. Our discussion, let's move forward, so they can hold the motion made. All in favor, so much saying aye.
Aye.
Looks like it's everybody opposed, anybody opposed, so much saying nay. Okay, any extensions? Motion passed.
Okay, can I get a little clarification? With them being habitual offenders, that is on them, not the animals. So if they have one of their other dogs get out, that is still in violation of them being declared habitual offender.
So I need to look.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, let me go back and
So yeah, the habitual offenders on them, the specific requirements of what we're asking is with the dog Valkyrie and the enclosure in the front.
Okay.
So, yes, for the ordinance, if there's other violations that could impact other.
Sure. Typically, in as habitual offender, it's 3 times the citation amount. So if they get, Daisy gets out, you would still stand by that because they are habitual offender.
So I believe the ordinance with habitual offender, we can, if I'm wrong here, is that, I think it's double the amount, however, is something that the commission places on them as a fine. It's not something that you automatically fine. Am I right in that? I see a nod. Okay. So if they were to do another violation, you could bring them back and possibly request that fine to be added, but it's not automatically added.
Have those other dogs gotten out?
One other has, well, 2 of them got out on the initial go in and one has gotten out 6.
Okay.
Valkyrie seems to be the one that gets out.
That's the one that fights Playboys.
So let's clarify your question.
Yes.
Any other discussion on that, so. Moving on to the reports, animal shelter.
We was, oh, sorry, there is still one more to discuss that occurred today. It's not really not on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda, you just want to do it during your report.
Sure.
So I'll go real quick with the animal shelter. It's February's over. We had a good adopt a rabbit month. We sent a lot of rabbits home, so that was fun to see. The shelter's been dealing with unusual upper respiratory infection. So far it's come back negative for anything serious, so it could just be an unusual strain, but that seems to be on the tail end. Other than that, the adoptions are going well.
Is it capture dogs?
Dogs.
I just wanted to say that you could have brought probably 5 or 6 additional dogs to the pet expo, and they would have been taken in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It was almost funny to watch the people in line for those 3 pups.
Anytime we have pups, especially if we take pups to the parks, people just come out over.
Those are it.
I don't know, I've got.
You talk about kid or?
Oh, you got one of 3?
One of the 4.
Oh, when the whole other corn, okay. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, everyone was like, yeah, I didn't think that through. I should brought a lot more.
We just never, when these things happen, there's never enough staff to do resupply runs.
Okay. Officer.
So, as I referred to, I had a couple days straight on. I get out, find a dog to be Diesel, which is owned by Rebecca Wall, who was declared habitual offender. November, December maybe. So the dog is here at this time. Per the habitual approval declaration. I believe that it was discussed that the dog would be held here until further meeting. It was out again. It was out again.
Just came to the shelter today.
So it'll be here a month
Mm-hmm.
until.
Unless there's something that you all can come up with today.
So obviously we can't make any declarations because we didn't have time to provide notice to the owners, but
Or is that somebody said next month?
we definitely have to hear the case next month. I don't know unless Lee can fill out, know there's anything we can do tonight about it.
It's not on the-
It's not on the agenda, this just happened today.
But for your discussion, it could be, in my opinion, I think, that you could decide that, yes, we can let this dog go home, or no, we're gonna keep this dog here until the next week.
Yeah, and I guess I just look at it as more of the situation with shelter right now. Is space enough of an issue to where if this dog is not held, but they are, we certainly, we do everything else as if they done this. Does that assist the shelter?
For the declaration, she had 60 days to build a fence, so I guess this was January meeting.
Okay.
Right, this is
So we're
January.
approaching, we're 5 weeks
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
7 weeks, sorry, that's to the 8 weeks, so she's still got another 8 weeks to get the fence done. So that's ordered, but only by the day, she's not started on any type of fence, she's not done anything. I was informed by a neighbor that was there, well, we can't build fences here, we can't do any enclosures, we can't do anything else.
Mhm.
So,
HOA rules?
no home park.
Oh,
Yeah. Well,
I guess what's the feeling of the dog, we even discuss releasing, I mean, I don't know what you're, the dog.
the dog's not considered a danger.
No, very friendly,
Yeah, that's what I
I
thought.
mean, you probably won't be alive long if you keep skipping out like that, but.
was there a ticket
So,
written for this that she'd have to pay?
Not yet, that was gonna be my next question, how would you like to cite her?
so this was the January meeting. In the January meeting, the walls were declared habitual offender.
Is this about those lows?
This is Diesel, the dog. that
Yes, walk
lives.
into a warehouse today with Costco.
Required to construct a security closure from which the dog cannot escape within 60 days. And to stay in communication with AMO if there are any issues. So that was the requirement we put on the digital. If Diesel is picked up and the security closure has not been inspected, Diesel will be held until the next scheduled AMC.
I
That's
almost say just hold
That's,
it, yeah, I think it's,
let's don't go back in the room.
maybe it'll make, we'll reinforce.
And, okay, so as far as citations, she's gonna get issued citations, I don't know how to handle that. And however it is, I would like to give her the option that this is where we're at, the dog's gonna be there for 30 days and you're getting the citations, unless you decide you want to just relinquish the dog and let it all go.
I have no problem as a policy, if it works with your office, and to waive fees and violations if somebody's not going over. I don't see anything, as long as it's handled well and it doesn't feel like they're being pressured into it. I have no problem with that personally.
Sounds good.
What would those fees be?
Your standard at large, by whatever time it's
That's
for
it would
diesel.
be ×3 typically, because it would be second or subsequent offense within 2 years. So with that, and with y'all's order, it could be 3 times that, I believe.
Everybody looking at
Well,
me?
we can just stick to the 2 times, it's fine, just stick to
Yeah,
Just
just,
do 2 times, and then is there a charge for the daily
the, that's.
housing of the dog?
there will, right, so there will be charge for the housing of the dog until the next, meeting. The only way those charges would be waived is if for some reason they're found in favor and we choose
2 times is good. Okay. Is that it on?
I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay. Second, anything? So legal. You got anything?
I do not have anything.
All right, cool. So the big topic, we move on to the dangerous organ discussion.
So we introduced this last month, that everybody had a chance to review the stuff and bring back questions. I mean, I think, well, Valerie, if you want to say anything in particular, but I think we're, at this point, it's whether we turn it over to Lee to polish up, whether you send us back to the drawing board, or what other questions or changes need to be made at this point.
That's pretty much, I mean, at this point, I'm somewhat biased because we wrote it. I'm not seeing anything wrong with it, but I would send it to Lee. My recommendation would be, unless anybody does see a major issue with it, to send it to Lee and let it kind of go through now the legal side of it, just to make sure we're not.
Should we?
You guys get a chance to look at those. Great.
I do have a question about the bite scale.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to determine that? That occurred to me too.
So the bite scale is based on that particular,
So, because it has like depth of the bite, and all kinds of different things.
so that would be the
And we
officer.
sometimes don't even get the bite reports till 2 or 3 days later,
Okay,
and we get no pictures or anything from the hospital with those reports. Well, I guess last Friday is when we had a major dog bite that was at Monroe Hospital, and we actually got called and we got to go see it, and that's a very rare thing that we actually get to see it right after it happens. So we didn't know who was gonna be able to determine that bite scale
okay.
for the vicious or one of the different PEDs or however it's gonna be done.
We often get pictures or vet medical records with those cases, don't we, from what I recall, last time we've had pictures of those.
Yeah, we often have pictures of the bikes and stuff. So-
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, picture, but that doesn't tell you whether it's 10 minutes or.
Based, I mean, you can make, I don't know, my opinion would be, you can make, based on how the little information we have on here, you can make a guess on whether a puncture, just by looking at it, is half the depth of the canine of the dog you're looking at versus a half or more. I mean, there's, based on the width, the depth, how it looks, I mean, I mean, if we need to not have the half a canine in for legal reasons, we can rewrite that somewhere, but I think the general idea is you can, by looking at an injury.
I think that works better for a defense than it does for us.
Meaning,
Meaning that that's something that they can fight. Well, you don't know if it's half, you don't know, so I think it works more in their favor than our favor.
Because then we'd have to have the burden of proof that it's at.
If you get, I mean, if you get a full blown, tear or something, I do think that it said something about a measurement in like level 4 or 5.
so that's not, yeah, so that, the level, those levels aren't in the ordinance. Those levels aren't going anywhere in ordinance. That's the chart we use. So that's in Dunbar's bite scale, which is a bite scale that shelters and trainers and behaviorists use and will accept nationally, as far as bites and how you deal with bites. That's the kind of scale we used to then break down the definitions of the ordinance. So those scales aren't going in our ordinance. It's just but again, what the potential language would be no punctures deeper than half a canine. And I think there's other ways to phrase that. And like, I'd be happy to work with Lee, we can come up with better language if that's needed.
I mean, can't we just say approximately?
We could, yeah, we could just put approximately into, yeah, that's
That makes
excellent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and on some of these, I mean, and I think that's what I'm looking to kind of see what other people have done who are using it. And it seems like that's,
Where I got thrown off with, I didn't know how they process figuring it out, that's what we're beyond. But you can ask that question.
Um. Where are you feeling with this, Lee? Do you wanna work on language? I'd be happy to bounce things back and forth with you, and we can bring something back here. Or is there more that you want guidance here?
I see that. So
I think what you've put together is enough for me to get started. I may have questions as I go, but maybe not. It looks pretty well done to me. It gives me enough guidance that I can make my way. But there may be questions, and we can just, Virgil, you and I can kind of take those up as we go. And then if we get to a question or an issue that really is, really ought to be dealt with by the board as a whole, then we can simply put it on the agenda and take it up. But I really don't anticipate that. I think it's well done. I think I can finish it up from there.
I was gonna say, because like this, they use the same scale, but they kind of, like level 1's aggressive, but no skin contact. That's obvious to see. Level 2, teeth made contact, but do not break the skin. That's easier to see. Level 3, a single bite with shallow wounds.
Yeah.
So defining
Shallow.
shallow, but still that's probably at least a single bite with deep wounds, multiple bites with deep wounds, and then death of the victim and or flesh consumed.
Yeah.
So they've kind of taken that and maybe condensed it.
I think, Virgil, you have a pretty good feel for the intent of the board, I imagine. So if there are any points that maybe need a little work, I think I can, at least from you, understand what the intent of the commission is, and what I think I'll do is make additions where they're warranted that I think will be in line with what the intent is of the board, and then the board can take a look at those and we can kind of go from there. But it should be pretty easy work. You already did all the heavy lifting.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me. So we go ahead and send it to Lee then, and then
We will bring it back and contact if we have questions and go from there.
no motion needed for this.
Do we need a motion power when you talk to kind of sum it up?
I don't know that we need a motion now for a working thing. Once the final's done and we're recommending it, then we definitely need a motion.
So it will be sent to Lee, and the dangerous ordinance will be sent to Lee, that's the formal review for next month.
Thanks.
Thank you. And while we're on ordinances, based on our previous discussion, this was the first piece we were going to tackle. I don't know if anybody has, we didn't really put the second piece that we were going to tackle, or if there is one. So we need to make a decision tonight, but just know that we need to do that.
Public comments, anybody here, back on Zoom, the public? No, just one thing. I'd just like to thank, Val for taking over the meeting last month for me, and I'd like to thank Virgil for doing all his work and getting everything done in Tommy manner, as we have these meetings. Thank you, Virgil.
This is the main one.
Okay, we can thank you. Is there nothing further? I'm all closed.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that one.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Good evening, all.
A record.
Okay, 31 minutes, is that good?
That's phenomenal.